Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare two laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to the second round of the championship in the Apex Racing League Formula V Championship, live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Andy Thompson, Sam Kumo operating the cameras tonight, and we have got Summit Point for rounds 4, 5 and 6 of the championship, 15 minutes in each, with a couple of reverse grids as well. It should be fantastic viewing, because it was last week, Andy, we saw a real chaotic 3 races last week. We really couldn't get a good understanding of what the pecking order is this season because it was so crazy, but this Summit Point track should give us a little bit more of a prediction as to what the rest of the season is going to be like.
Yeah, definitely. Last week was, I think it was an eye opener for the rest for the field to try and learn these cars and understand how they drive. And as we saw in all 3 races, turn 1 at Laguna Seca was chaotic to start with. It started getting a bit better by race 3. I think we only had 5 off at race 3, where we had, I think it was 18 off in race 1. But certainly Summit Point is more probably attuned to these cars, but you know, we're still going to have the turn 1, which is a really tight turn off the starting grid, which is a quite long run down to the stretch. So hopefully the drivers have learned a little bit more about the cars and understand, and try and give them space through that first corner, because I think we might see a little bit of action going into there today, Sam.
I think so, yeah. If the race starts, it could be very chaotic. We've got plenty of drivers on the grid as well. 29 signing up for this round of the championship. And we have got 5 more minutes of qualifying remaining as well. And last weekend, I was saying how Laguna Seca, probably one of the more expansive circuits on this on the calendar. I think I was kind of wrong on that one, because we head to a Summit Point circuit where there's 2 braking zones. There's turn 1, and then you got turn 4, which is braking area, and then sorry, turn 5, and then a little bit of a brake as well into turn 6. The rest of it is flat out, and so around this part of the circuit that we're currently seeing the drivers negotiate, Jakob Behrens, who's currently at the top of the timings, you're just generating more and more in speed, and you can see his teammate behind just getting a lovely draft, and well, it's going to be very tricky to defend into the last corner, let alone defend into turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw last week as well in Laguna Seca with the short straight on the start finish, you know, the amount of slipstream that these cars can get. And that's exactly as you're saying there, coming out of turn 7 here through 8 and 9, down to 10, down to turn 1, it's pretty much flat out. So if you're behind a car, you're going to get a really decent slipstream. And sort of, I was watching them in practice, and they were getting down to speeds of, without any slipstream, of about 160 kilometers an hour coming down into turn 1. Not the fastest, but I'd imagine in these cars it's quite fast. And with that toe, I'd imagine it'll be a lot more. So I'm expecting to see quite a lot of passes coming down that start-finish straight going into turn 1, but you've got to be precise on your braking into turn 1, because you get the line wrong on that turn and you hit the grass on the outside, or even take a bit of curb on the inside, you could be seeing stars in the car as you're spinning round within that. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to these 3 races tonight, Sam, and hopefully seeing a lot of action, but not the action where there's loads of crashes. So lots of action where they're passing.
Yeah, I think some photo finishes as well. We always get them in whatever cars we drive around this track. Plenty of kind of straights before the start-finish line around this track. I think we might just be able to quickly show you the championship standings. I mean, like I was saying earlier on, you really can't judge too much by these standings. It was such a chaotic round. Kelly managed to end up at the top because he got a first, a second, and a 12th. That 12th coming in race 1. But I mean, Adjinson's had problems. Everyone had problems. Everyone had at least one bad race. No one had a clear run. So really could happen. We could go to anyone out there. So that is the pro standings, and in the amateurs as well. It was an amazing night for Pushistaya Pravda. He managed to take a 31-point advantage, but Pravda didn't take pole position in race 1, and there's plenty of time for Paris and of course Dave McMullen as well to try to gain back some points, along with the entire amateur field, honestly. So yeah, that's kind of the situation going into this round, as we've got another 1 minute 30 of the session to go. So you've got to be starting a lap right now, and just riding on board with Sivi Sabo here. He's got a fairly nice draft, I believe, on Adjinson's. Apologies, no, Adjinson's I think is just behind him. But so maybe just being a little bit of a waft of the slipstream here. And well, this is quite a good position to be behind, because then you can get the nice drag all the way from turn 6 to the start-finish line.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this part, I mean, there's just a little info on a bit of the circuit here, Sam. 1969 to 1970, the track was made. This part of the circuit wasn't introduced until 1973. The old circuit was a 90-degree hairpin at turn 5, followed by a left-hander, followed by a right 90-degree hairpin going into what is turn 8. So they added the carousel round 6 and 7 in 1973. So the course is about 2 miles long, and the start finish rate is 880 meters. But probably in this car, you're more looking at 1.5 miles flat out from turn 8 going all the way down to turn 1. So you know, a lot of full speed action going in there and a lot of corners. So I'm expecting to see some good things. And tonight's race is obviously race 2. The reverse grid is 14 places, and race 3 will be 12. And as we saw in the first race, Sam, it wasn't too bad. The front runners got away and kept it nice and clean. But then when they got the reverse grid for the second and third races, that's where we saw all the pros getting mixed up with the AMs, and obviously causing a lot of issues. So that's where we saw like 3 different winners in Laguna Seca, and I wonder if we're going to see it tonight as well, Sam.
I think that's a good shout to have 3 different winners, maybe an amateur winning out tonight. But really, the top of the field dominated by the pros, so testament to the ARL admins there for that pro-am divide. Great job as always, guys. Much appreciate your work. Jakob Behrens on pole position then. Derek Adjensons in second place. Then it's Jesse Miettunen, Jensen Adjensons, Alexander Skaret, Daniel Sirisabe, Jan Philip Yank, James Whittaker, who managed to take his the race 3 win last time out, Mark Charpentier, and Flavio Andolo in 10th place. I won't go through the entire field, I don't want to bore everyone, but you can see kind of the top amateurs there with Reeve at the head of them, Paris Fowler, Pravda, championship leader of course is Pravda, man, that divide is remarkable, I must say. And there's also a few drivers having to start from the pits. Aaron Smith tonight, Andy, having to start from the pits in every race, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I had quite a lot of incidences in the first rounds. Hopefully he's learned from that. And to be fair, Sam, it's probably not a bad place to actually start. If there's a lot of carnage in round turn 1, it might actually pay off for the guys that are starting in the pits, which is, I think it's from Aaron Smith down, to be able to do. So we'll see what happens going into turn 1. Hopefully all clean, and we get a decent 15 minutes with everyone making around the first lap.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. Lagoon Seeker maybe it was nice for a one-off, but we want to see some close battling, and we know around this circuit this could be one hell of a race, or 3 incredible races, because to break the draft around this circuit is going to be near impossible, at least for these front runners, and even the amateurs could well be in with a shout as well at the back of the pack. That's a fantastic sight. See all of these Formula V cars lining up on the grid here at Summit Point Raceway. A 15-minute race 1, remember, and you want to finish in the top 14, so you get within the reverse grid for race 2. So, the lights for the first time this evening are illuminating. The smoke is pouring out to the cars. The 5 lights are on, and away we launch. It's a good start for Adjensons, straight away into the lead. It's a poor start for Behrens, who may drop a couple more places to the other Adjensons. There's contact in the background, trying to get off the circuit there, but many jars involved. I think that's 6 or 7.
Yeah, definitely looks like there's a lot of incidents.
With, I think, an ARL history at the moment.
Yeah, as you saw there, the back middle of the pack. It'd be interesting to find out as we see a bit of issue going down into turn 1 there, going in. But a great start from Adjensons. Behrens obviously losing out in his pole position, getting into second base. Skaret coming in third, up 2 places from the start grid, so a great start for him. So the top half of the field actually getting away, and as we saw there, we might be able to try and get a replay of what happened sort of towards the middle of the pack. We had a lot of incidents in the middle, so all the AMs would have been all mixed up under that. So where I was saying at the start, you know, starting from the pit from Aaron Smith and that was probably actually a good place, because they missed out on all the carnage. All the other cars towed back to the pits, and there, as we see another Darren Andrewson, oh no, unfortunately gets hit there with Janka or Miroslav Hirasi, which was terrible coming out of that corner, which is quite easily to do around that corner. That's the tight turn 7 going into turn 8 as we're coming down to the fast parts. We'll see a lot of slipstreaming here as we see the Adjensson trying to get back into Burns on this slipstream. As we see here, Skaret, look at the overspeed there from the slipstream. You see the effect there, taking 3 places down there, 3 wide coming into turn 1. So hopefully they'll all keep it nice and clean, with Behrens getting the fastest lap there on that one and taking first place. But Adjenson's not giving up on this on the first, but manages to give them a place, all making it through the first corner. So great move there by Skaret, coming from third place all the way up to first place, and Behrens in second with Adjensson in third at the moment. So bit of a move around within the positions in the top 3, but as we can see, that's the strength of the slipstream effect going around this course here. So the top 3 battling out, and 4th and 5th are not far behind, so I'm expecting them to get into the battle as we see Adjensson here going up the inside into turn 5. Great move, gets it done nice and smooth on Behrens there, getting into third place. And Behrens now has got Metagan all over the back of him as well, so he needs to be aware of this, and they're all going to be in a long slipstream effect now, going from turn 8 all the way down to turn 1. So expect some passes coming down through turn 10 onto that start finish straight, as you saw there was with Skaret on the previous lap, the overspeed that he got coming out of the corner. If you get this corner correctly, you're going to get a really good run coming down into turn 1 as well. And a great view here of Mark Charpentier coming down there. As you can see the palette, obviously we've got a driver calling out wide, going 3 wide again into turn 1. You know, luckily these drivers are professionals at these cars now, so hopefully they'll keep it nice and clean and they'll all make it through. But you know, all jockeying for position into turn 1 as we see there. And Perez getting first place, Andrewson taking second, Skirat in third, and Charpentier back down in fourth. So these 5 cars really battling it out at the front of this field, and the position changing on each and every lap. And that's obviously down to these cars all being fixed setups. Or as we have, big hit there. Oh no, that was Charpentier getting into a little bit of issue. I think it was with Silver Sabo going into that corner, coming out of there, which is brought him down the field, and I think he's probably got a little bit of damage there, but going all the way down from the top 4 all the way down to 13th at the moment. So he won't be a happy camper in that cockpit at the moment, going through into this race. So top of the pros. I've got a replay here of the incident as we see Charpentier coming around on the inside of the corner. Oh, and as he pushes out wide, so it was that car 27.
Yeah, Skirets, I think, was the one who moved across, and Skirets now had to come into the pit, so it seemed like he picked up some damage from that one as well. So shame for the 113, and that front group has kind of been thinned out a little bit. There's just 4 of them leading the way. Atkinson's with a bit of a gap though over the rest.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's all action. And welcome back, Sam. Great to have you back in the booth after your little technical display. As we've got Silver Savo actually made his way up there into second place now. So these positions, Sam, changing every day, and like we were saying at the start, the slipstream on these cars is immense. So with them all close packed as they are, that's where we're seeing this jockeying of positions on each and every lap, and certainly coming down that start-finish straight. So as we saw 2 cars there with a massive overspeed gaining 2 places, and we had a great onboard camera of Skiret's pass of the 2 cars.
Yeah, it was. We've got the back marker now just getting in amongst these drivers. That's Jack Reeve, perhaps. Apologies, no, that's Roggenbuck. He's just, or maybe it's another driver, apologies. But it's kind of playing havoc with some of these front runners. Adjinsons and Silver Saber, they teammates, of course, Indy Autosport drivers. And so you'd expect them not to crash into one another. Dominguez and Walsh seemingly crashed into one another though. A little bit further back there is Walsh. Not sure if he's got any drive in that car to be able to get it back to the pits, so calls the tow truck to go recover him, and that will be the end of his competitive race. At least we'll be able to score points as long as he does get back out on circuits in time. But Silvio Sabe back to the lead again. You can see 9/10 to a second faster, and Atkinson's is just as quick, as they're still having to deal with the apologies, no, they've dealt with the back markers now, but the Indy Autosports guys are just kind of looking out the entire circuit. There's nowhere for anyone else to go.
Now side-by-side action going into turn 1, coming down into turn 2, through into turn 3, so blocking out that front row of the grid. But Perez has been a bit strange. You notice when he comes out of turn 8, turn 9, he's not dipping into the slipstream. He's actually going out to the side, so I'm not sure why he's doing that, because obviously these cars are all about the slipstream effect to be able to get past. So maybe this time we'll see him tuck in behind the Indy Autosport guys, and we should see him passing down the start-finish straight. Like you say, Sam, it's going to be hard for these guys to break the draft, and it's all about managing when you pass to optimise your position and just trying to keep it, I think.
There's also a terrific battle going on between Leclerc, Charpentier, Paris, Hraski and Cope, but this one's for the lead, and Atkinson's in the lead at the moment. I think that may have just been a move, but Susabe pulling ahead as side by side as well here. Leclerc kind of getting that move done before the corner, but off the circuit. That was Costa actually, who's a back marker. So Costa now just getting back on the circuit. So yeah, maybe well, maybe that was his fault, I'm not quite sure, but certainly taking too long for these other drivers, and now there's contact with Dominguez, who slides into the wall, trying to get past the back marker. Somehow he's still got all 4 wheels on that car, but I imagine we'll need a faster look at that. That's that's not going back to the pits.
I think that's the Crabbin version of the Formula V there. As you see there, you know, a lot of these drivers won't be intentionally hitting into the cars, but, you know, I think what's catching a lot of the drivers out, Sam, is the overspeed that you get on these cars when you're in the slipstream of them, as we saw from the front runners, making it past the front 2 quite easily. The back markers, they may be hidden by cars in front of them, getting the overspeed, and then unfortunately tapping in the back of the cars. And the problem with these cars is they're paper thin, so any sort of damage and you'll be taking a trip back to the pits and your race is over.
Yeah, it's so easy to get the wheels tangled up, and yeah, super tricky cars to deal with. It'll be interesting to see by the end of the season, after round 8 of the championship, see how much the racing has changed. Honestly, as Behrens has had a problem. Behrens is off the circuit in the final corner. He's reached the banking, and again, that's got to be too much damage. I think he kind of hit that mound. But here was that, so he was battling for 2nd position, though. This is alongside Anderlo, I believe. And he's up the inside, but just running out a little bit wide there. I mean, that's not really understeer there because it's so easy flat, but he avoided any significant damage.
Yeah, I think obviously he took that inside line going around there, and the correct line for that one is obviously go out wide, cut the corner on the inside to be able to then go out wide on the left. And unfortunately he was sort of caught out of position there going into the inside of the track, as we see the battle here for 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th. Great battle in 2x2 going into turn number 3, coming down into turn 4 now. So it's a tight turn 5 coming up, as we see there Charpentier on the inside, trying to take that inside line from Bariz, I think it is, on that, and he gets a job well done. So a great view there from our producer in the background, Samuli, showing us some excellent shots there of classic overtaking in turn 5 there.
And Behrens might be able to catch back up to these guys by the end of this race. Still got a few more laps to go, and 1.7 seconds behind, so if they do continue fighting like they are, then there could be an overtake. 3 wide, guys, it's not worth it. Leclerc doing the right thing there and staying behind. Now he just nips up the inside, but it's all about getting that run out of the point. Doesn't really matter if you're 2nd or 3rd in line. You just want to get the good run, and then I can go for the move instead. Leclerc, and again, quite a poor exit there. Adrianson's made a huge gap out in the lead now, so he's got a 3-second gap, and it's all going on in that lead pack, as it's 2 wide as well. And in this battle, I think that's Charpentier actually moving to the front of this battle. So good work there from Charpentier. Him and Hraski will try to break the draft to the others. But yeah, Adrianson's out in the lead. Anderlo fighting so hard with these other drivers. Sibi Sabo in amongst them as well. And then you got the other Adriansons who had an off at turn 1. On the first lap, Mietzen, and amateur leader Pravda, championship leader as well, is Pravda, up there in 6th position. So doing very impressively well as Anderlo runs wide and drops to the back of this train.
Yeah, definitely is. As we said, it's great to see Prada up in the top am in 6th place, mixing up a bit with these pros up at the front. But like you say, if it's pros or if it's ams, if you get within that slipstream, you can sort of negate the differences of driving skills, because you can just get towed along by these cars going in, as we're seeing here with Pravda in 6th place, but very easily to get it slightly wrong, or a little tap going into a corner. And as we've seen, you know, this lead probably changed hands about 10 times at the moment, as we can see at the front. We got the 2 Adriansons brother again, but like you said, Jensen's got a massive gap over his brother Dara in 2nd place, 4.3 seconds at the moment. And this is the main fight probably at the moment for 3rd position with Silvia Savo, and then we got a big 3 wide going in through Hertz, Leclerc and Charpentier going into turn 1, as they keep it rather clean, Sam, which is nice to see compared to what we saw in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, this battle, at least from what we've seen, has been very high quality. Maybe a couple of instances of contact, but for the most part it's been very good. And yeah, it's interesting to see Lacour, amateur driver, really mixing it up with Charpentier and Haraski. He's just lost out on that occasion. Yeah, drops to 9th position, so Charpentier back to the front. He was very quick at Laguna Seca, and actually was on course for perhaps leading the championship at one point. Had an issue though in race 3, which scuppered his opportunities. But another decent result in this race one, all about consistency in this season, I am sure. But of course, looks like Charpentier is going to be vulnerable. Adjinson's just getting past Mietinen as well. And that means that with the two Adjinson's brothers and Sivi Sabo, it's an Indy Autosport 1-2-3. So can really use those tactics to their advantage, forming an alliance between those drivers as Haraski now moves up to 7th place.
Yeah, so if you look at obviously the reverse grid positions at the moment, which we're looking at here, currently occupied by Aaron Smith. So as we were saying at the start, Sam, you know, he was one of the pit lane starters, currently in 14th place at the moment, but unfortunately he would have a pit lane start for race 2. So although he's currently sitting in pole position at the moment for the reverse grid of race 2, he would actually start in the pit, so we would lose out on that. So Parise, as we see Aaron Smith taking a bit of a spin there, so Scarrett gets position 14th and Smith in 15th. So unfortunate for Aaron going there into turn 1, and I think his car is pretty much done for the race.
Yeah,
Parisi, sorry.
Great. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Scarrett or Smith making contact. I think they're all green cars, which was very helpful for us. Yeah, it certainly was very bad news for Parise, and actually turning back in Scarrett as well. I think Scarrett's already used his faster pair as well, as we are seeing Behrens, who has got to the front of this pack. Excellent work there from Behrens, who started from pole position, actually. But it was such a dreadful start that he lost it immediately as Haraski just goes slightly wide. He's lost the back of that chain now. But yeah, Behrens fights him for the lead earlier on. Had an off when he made contact with Sivi Sabo at the final corner. But he has recovered excellently. That 7th place is very well earned. Simon Ball just moving up as well, and Sivi Sabo losing out. So Sivi Sabo down to 4th position. Wow, this is getting fairly chaotic. This is 2nd down to 5th, as there's a bit of contact between these. I think there might be a back marker as well involved in all these drivers. And this is absolutely anyone's game as we move on to the last lap.
Definitely. It's obviously we had Andelo trying to mix it up with the Indy Sport guys, but the Indy Sports guys have managed to get back into 1st, 2nd and 3rd at the moment, so all to do on this. And Andelo, I'd give him a good shot to try and get past these guys, because he's in a perfect position, going to be in the slipstream coming out of turn 7. It's whether he can get a good exit through turn 9 and turn 10 to try. Oh, as we see, I think that was Adrianson's Sivi Sabo just turned round into turn 5, which is easily done from one of the top positions in 3rd place all the way down to 6th place. So poor luck for Sivi Sabo there going on to the last lap. But yeah, watch out for Andelo. I think he might pull something off here, Sam.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good launch to the line, but out in the lead, there is no stopping Jensen Adjinsons, who I believe this might be his first ever ARL race victory. Not 100% sure about that one, but it's still a great drive from the Belgian to take the win for Indy Autosports. Can Andelo get the run at the line? I think Darragh Adjinsons has got enough of it and manages to take home that 2nd place. Mietinen managed to hold off Andelo as well. Pravda top of the amateur drivers. Sivi Sabo, Behrens, Charpentier, Lacour and Haraski rounding out the top 10. And whilst I'm not sure if that's Jensen Adjinson's first ever race victory in this series, I believe it is the first ever time we've had siblings or family members lock out the top 2 positions in an Apex Racing League Championship. So congratulations to the Adjinsons family.
Yeah. You know, it's a great first race that we've had there. Obviously, the Adjinsons 1st and 2nd, with an amateur throwing in the mix, putting a bit, and he actually made up another position there, Sam. He made 11 places during that race, Bruno Prada. So coming the top am in 5th place, so extending his lead in the amateur championship there. Obviously the next placed am was in 9th place, I believe, which was Brad Lacour. So yeah, a lot of places there. The reverse grid pole at the moment will be, or it is Jacob Money with Aaron Smith, so there's going to be a gap there in 2nd place, as Aaron Smith will have to start from the pit come race 2. So be a bit of a gap between first place. So he should be able to get a good start off the line, Sam.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge advantage, I imagine, for third on the grid, because if anything, I think you want to be starting from third. You get that awesome draft down to turn 1. There's the results. Atkinson's brothers at the top. Miettunen with a good result. Angelo Pravda, top of the AMs again. And yeah, also Lacour and Ball doing very well in the amateur category, rounding out that podium. And yeah, like Andy was saying, the top 14 reversed for this race too. So yeah, money on pole, but Will starting in third position. Maybe I'll go for a big call, Andy. I forgot to say that one earlier on, but I'll say Ball will win this race, and if you want to use your genie powers, feel free to. I'll also let you take this race start, so hopefully I don't glitch out. So yeah, we'll see who can come out on top. At the moment, the top 2 on the grid. Money hasn't got to the grid yet, but we're still waiting for him.
Yeah, definitely. As we know, Aaron Smith starting from the pit for the first 3 races here, so there'll be a bit of a gap as we see the red lights coming on, and let's see what sort of away that Money can get. So great start off the line. All seem to be it looks like no, he didn't. I thought Aaron Smith actually started there, but he didn't. So he managed to get his pit start as we come down into turn 1. Jay Will's getting his first place, but it's 3 wide there going into the first corner. All coming into 4th wide, but luckily Will managed to get it. And Charpentier, who's probably my call for this race, getting from 5th up to 2nd place, but actually, a big incident going around into turn 1. Good, the drivers are keeping still, and the rest of the drivers just need to get around it. But what this is going to do for the front of the field is being able to get them. Let them get away from the rest of the field, because them pros that won in the first race would have been caught up in that, which would have slowed them down dramatically going into that. But the biggest mover on the field is Alexander Scaret, up 13 places into P12 as we see Andelo on board going down into first one. Unfortunately, spins it out wide and causes a little knock-on effect going into corner, but luckily keeping it all nice and steady and actually going back to the pit, so getting out of the way, not causing too much issues around there. But as we see at the front, Charpentier, great run off him, up 6 places. Miroslav Hisli in 2nd place, up 3 places, and Jacob Behrens up 5 places. So at the moment we've got 3 pros out in front, with the top AM being Brad Lacour in 4th place.
Yeah, and Michael Ball not doing quite as well as I thought, down into 5th place, but could still be a pretty good result for him. Charpentier kind of delivering on that promise of the first 4 races of the season. Strong at Laguna Seca, strong earlier on and in the lead, but Behrens is crucial just slightly in the draft, and I think Behrens has got the pace to close that gap down anyway. He is one of the fastest drivers tonight. Off the circuit goes Colley. So Colley was up, I think, about 8 places at one point, but he's leaking a few of them back again. Look at Smith up to 12th position. He starts from the pits, did Aaron Smith. So he's up the best part of 15 positions, I think, so far. So awesome stuff from Aaron there. Really did benefit from that first lap chaos. And Colley's trying to still hold on to the places. Money also starts from the pits then. Oh no, we've got Behrens off the track. Oh dear, well, Behrens had a great chance at the win, and I don't know if that was intentional or not from Ball, but well, he's far from the race victory here. I'd be fascinated to know what happened there, because Behrens and Ball were nowhere near one another. I think that was Behrens maybe spinning and Ball getting caught up.
Yeah, probably as we see a replay here coming down through turn 4 here. So we've got Behrens on the front, and I think you're right, Sam. He probably overcooked it a little bit going into corner, as rightly spins it out wide.
Oh, Lito was off as well.
Right.
Yeah, so I just saw Charpentier was off. So if they hadn't have crashed, if they did nothing spectacular, they would have probably taken the lead there, because all the top 3 went off the circuit.
Crazy. Charpentier still out in lead, and Brian Lacour actually right on his tailpipes now. So great place for the top AM in 2nd place at the moment, with Pravda in 4th place, 2nd of the AM. So we got Charpentier, Lacour, Hertzky and Pravda in top 4 of the race. So we've got a bit of a split here, Sam, between first and second and third and fourth. So I think third place has lost that toe off at the second place, and I reckon Pravda will be all over the back of Husky by the end of this lap.
Yes, Hurasky with a very poor lap that last time, and I wonder if Hurasky's got damage as well. If he has got damage, it's probably just going to be steering damage. You don't really get aero damage. We were talking about, you know, the splitters and such last night in the ARL GT Championship, but you don't have a splitter in this car, so it's, as long as all the wheels are pointing in the right direction, there's not a whole lot that can go wrong, honestly. And of course you need to make sure that your engine's all in one piece as well. Sivi Sabo up there in 8th place. It was a disappointing end to his race 1, but he is up 1 place so far, so he's clearly had issues as well as Sivi Sabo in this race too. But he is around the pit lane starter, Smith, who's just a few seconds further back. And then of course we've got this long chain all the way up to Pravda. I think Pravda just losing that place now to James Whittaker.
Yeah, they're all coming in, as we saw there, on board with Alexander Skuret, up 16 places from where he started this race. So a fantastic race for him. And we know he's quite quick, as we saw within the first race. So I wouldn't put it past him to try and bridge the gap up to this group we're seeing here now, all the way from third all the way down to 6th, 7th at the moment. So, you know, although there looks like a big gap on that, these guys start fighting with each other. They'll slow each other down and let that pack behind get on board with them. So Whittaker here at the start, and Skuret is, yeah, I'll go for him to try and get on the back, but is he? No, he hasn't got a bit of damage. I thought he was slowing down there.
Yeah, it certainly did look like that. Maybe a slowdown, if that's possible. But maybe if you go too wide there, you can pick up a slowdown, or I don't know. But yeah, some kind of issue for the Norwegian. Not quite following on from his fellow countrymen, who were doing an astonishing job in the F3 Championship on Saturday. Absolute Norwegian domination in that championship. Half the drivers are Norwegian, and no, they did. Very well, but yeah, not going so well tonight for Skuret. I think this might be almost a lap down. Darragh Adjinson's just trying to recover what he can, and what a change of fortunes. The Adjinson's brothers 1-2 in race 1, 23rd and 24th in race 2.
Yeah, it just shows how easy it is to change in these leagues, and certainly with that incident in turn 1, they might have been involved in there, which obviously damaged the cars and they had to go back to the pit. So unfortunate for them too. As we saw, they had the pace in race 1, but that's the big thing about this type of series, Sam, is you can do really well in the first race, but then the second race you'll be back depending on the reverse grid, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in the middle of the pack and getting mixed up with the AMs, and take one hit in these cars and that's your race over. So real contrast experiences there from first and second to 23rd and 24th, as we're currently on board with Aaron Smith, with Jank right behind him, trying to get that slipstream, but you know, being very respectful going into turn 5, not trying to push it too much, knowing that he's got the run out of turn 8, 9, 10 and all the way down and start finish straight to turn 1 to make the position up.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, you'll have the opportunity to pass into the final corner, but I don't know if you want to do that. I think you want to be behind. I think he wants to be behind as well, so he's just lifting off, and they're all thinking the exact same game here. So they're all lifting off behind Smith, just so that they don't go alongside. And now you start to try to build up the momentum, and now he kind of pulls the trigger, goes to the inside, but that might be a bit too early to go to the inside, because that leaves the drivers behind to go for the run. We've got 3 wide. Oh, there wasn't quite the gap there as well. Maybe there was the gap for Skuret, but he didn't want to risk it too much. Certainly tangling with wheels was very possible for a moment there. And after all of that, Yank does get to the front, and Smith drops down 2 places, but of course you can just guarantee that's all going to happen again on the next lap. And ahead of them, you've got Sivi Sabo down to Meetonen, having a fierce battle. Lost each other a heap of time into turn 1, but Sivi Sabo is now at the front of this one, so Sivi Sabo getting more places, he's up to 5th.
Yeah, he's done an outstanding race as soon as only up 4 places, but keeping the battling well. But like you say, Sam, do you want to be at the front of this group coming out of turn 8 and 9, considering the amount, as we saw there when we were on board with Russ Fowler coming down the start-finish space, he actually literally had to lift off the accelerator, or he would have shot into the back of the cars in front of him. So we can see the power of the train, and if you're in the back of a train like this that we're looking at here, which is Meeting, we'll probably see him try and gain 1 or 2 places coming up that start-finish straight, because it seems really powerful in these cars in that 3rd or 4th place slipstream.
My nose has just said on the YouTube chat that Meeting is Raikkonen's cousin, FYI. Now I'm going to need some verification here, because I'm not trusting that straight off the bat. I'm not that gullible, but if you can give us some evidence, give us some links or whatever, then that would be much appreciated. Not everyone in Finland is related to one. There's only about 6 million of them, but they aren't all the same. I mean, our producer Sam Kuma is not related to Kimi Räikkönen as well, so and he's finished. So that's not necessarily the case for Meeting, but no. Could be the case. Certainly driving fairly well. Not quite Kimi level, but not too far off. As it gets very furious here. Suicide still at the front of this train. They managed to hang on, but across his gap that he managed to build up, absolutely obliterated. And now Whittaker up to 2nd place in this train. Will down to a 3rd position, but he's trying to come back now, Will. He just needs to think about this one, slot in behind, and that's exactly what he does. No, he doesn't. He's across the grass. Has he got any damage from that one? I imagine there's probably a bit of a flimsy wheel now on that Formula V, and there's a crash as well with Smith going off, and Smith dancing all over the place, and Will, it looks like he's having to dance around bombs right there. Everything exploding around him.
Yeah, definitely. Probably the worst place you could have a slight incident coming out of turn 8 going into turn 9, because obviously, as we saw there, he was right up in the thick end of it, and now he's right back down and lose so much time, because you've got to try and get the speed back up on the cars. What's great with these battles is we're seeing little pockets of battles of 4 or 5 cars, just as we see a big Sabo coming off, going down into turn 1. Be interesting to see that in a replay, to see if it was a bit of overspeed there, or Costa actually just slightly came across and hit the back of the thing. But I think their 2 races will be done, as we see there. So they're just crabbing down into turn as we go down here, then down the first straight. So Sabo on the inside, probably trying to make a pass, not realising that Costa, I think it was, is on his outside, and then unfortunately comes across Costa and hits them both off, and unfortunately that's him out of the race. As we see here, the awesome crab effect of the Formula V cars. And it doesn't take a lot, Sam, to get these cars as damaged to get back to the pit, so you've got to be really careful.
Yeah, and he has to do pretty much an entire lap, I think, getting that car back, so probably best just to tow, and still get some points. As long as you finish 0, 1 or 2 laps down, you still get some points to your name. Now this battle has started to spread out a bit, so Suicide now 1 second ahead, and I believe that's pretty much the draft broken. I mean, you can keep an eye on the timing tab, but you can see Meeting is losing maybe gaining a little bit of time, but it's very minimal to Suicide. So good work there from the Hungarian to be able to build up that gap. Now the concern for the Kimi Räikkönen's cousin is to battle Skuret and Whittaker behind. Poor lap actually for Whittaker, who was up to 6th position, but drops down to that 8th, I think, after the contact with one of the other drivers a moment ago. This train doesn't really stop, because even behind that you've got Fowler, Colle, and Smith will probably catch up by the end as well. So still a couple more laps to go in this race. Also Charpentier and Leclerc, only half a second between them. I think Leclerc's just staying in 2nd place, to be fair, so I think we just need to tune in on this one on the last lap. I can kind of see what Brad's trying to do here. Just thinking there's no point in overtaking now, and just lining that one up for a last lap dash.
Yeah, definitely. I think he might go for it on the last lap, but certainly, playing his cards right, just keeping behind Charpentier, keeping in his lines in his slipstream. Probably a faster driver, and it's pulling him along, which it'd be a great result for him, as we see Costa there getting a bit squirrely into turn 5, which is easy to come around the carousel, and as we see here now, we'll be just full-on acceleration out of these corners all the way down the start-finish straight. But 2 drivers to mention in this race that have been outstanding is Alexander Skiret up 18 places and Russ Fowler up 18 places. Both of them, as we just go on board and we see him do a 2-car overtake coming down into turn 3. So there's the power of that 3rd place slipstream coming down that start-finish there. So up another 4 places. Oh, as he unfortunately takes it a little bit too wide into turn 1. No. And that's him going to be out of the race. Oh, after having an outstanding start and taking 2 cars down in that 1st place, he's going to have to go back to the pits, as we saw his tyre there was pretty much hanging out. So it'd be an amazing job if he would try to get that back or nurse it round, but I don't think he'd be able to.
I mean, he pulled that one off, and then he yeah, the pressure got to him. That was all by himself. He had the move totally done. He didn't have to worry about the brakes. Maybe he had some cars fairly close behind, but now he'll be kicking himself for that one. Sivi Sabe, once again, a poor end to his race 2 as it was, and a poor end to race 1, as we are about to move onto the final lap. And now this is where Lecor has got to go for the move. If he's got anything left, he's got to deliver it now. And this is lining up very nicely, Andy. Just needs to keep the dots all pinned here, loses a bit of time, but this is going to be close heading into turn 1.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting last lap. I can imagine the nerves of Ryan Lecor thinking, should I just stay here, get the top of the AM, or should I go for that win, the first ARL win? So I think I know which one I would go for, but let's see what Brad, as he pulls out into the first corner. I think he's got it done here. He's got it done. Just needs to make sure that he keeps it nice and tight in turn 1. Take that inside line to slow down Charpentier, which I think he done excellent through there through turn 1. He just needs to keep it together, but obviously Charpentier will come back at him later on in the race, so he's just going to be keeping right under his real tailpipe and trying to get that. We do have Darren Anderson in the mix, but luckily getting out of the way of these 2 fighting for the first place, so we could have the first AM of the series win here, Sam, which would be very exciting.
Yeah, it's only race 5, and with 28 odd opposition, shows how quick Lecor has been, shows how quick some of the amateur drivers have been. But Charpentier, I'd probably give him the slight edge here, because he's in a good position. He's got the draft, maybe a little bit further back than he'd like to be, but this is where he can really generate that pace. And the gap, which was 4/10 of a second, coming down to 3/10. Soon it will be down to 2/10 of a second, and we are going to have a side-by-side final corner here at Summit Point Raceway for race 2 of the evening. Charpentier just lifts off slightly. He's happy to try to get the cut back, picks up a little bit of grass. It's a contact between the 2 of them. Charpentier has to get on the brake slightly, but now he's got the side draft. He's almost being pushed off the track by Lecor. The start-finish line comes up very late at this circuit, and Charpentier gets past right at the line by 0.06 of a second. He beats the American Brad Lecor, and Charpentier, I'm not sure if that was totally scripted by him, but he was just in the right position at the right time there, and Lecor could not resist the pace of the Dutchman. Hraski finishes on the podium, Pravda with more good points up there in 4th place, and still the other drivers coming across the line, Behrens and Paris trying to do the same thing here. I think that was Behrens just beating Paris by about 1,000th of a second. But what a finish that was. You could see Lecor trying to squeeze his rival right off the circuit. I mean, heck, I think Charpentier was off track for the entirety of that final 50 metres there, Andy. But he just had that side draft and managed to pull ahead.
Yeah, definitely. That was excellent racing coming out of there, and all credit to Brad as well, because he could have tried to push him off the track but gave him that little bit of room to try and keep him on the track, and 0.06 of a second going over the line. I think Brad should be happy with what he's done, obviously coming in 2nd place, but good old Charpentier, he keeps my run of calling who's going to win by 0.06 of a second there. But what is interesting, and this is what I call for race 3, Alexander Skiret is going to be our pole position sitter for race 3, so watch out for him in race 3, so.
Yeah, he's due some luck, is Skiret, so nah, I think that's Going to be maybe him the favourite for that one. There is the results then for race 1. Sharp and Tier at the front, 6/1000 of a second. We've rarely seen closer finishes than that on Apex Racing TV and Apex Racing League as well. Mira Haraski in 3rd position, then it was Pushistaya Pravda in 4th, James Whittaker, Jesse Meaton, Ross Fowler, Jarrett Will, Aaron Smith and Jared Colley. There were 5 AMs and 5 pros up in that top 10, which is quite a rarity, I must say. The rest of the order will cycle through for you. Plenty of, well, only 2 retirees actually, but plenty of drivers having to pick up a faster pair. We've got a few sponsors for this series, and just before we go to race 2, we have a little bit of break in the action, so we're going to be able to show you a bit of a trailer for one of them, but we'll be right back with you in the Apex Racing League Formula V Championship in just a moment.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Raul Fowler.
And Raul Fowler is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome back to Apex Racing TV. As we saw there, messages from our sponsors. Virtual Racing School, improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs for road and oval racing setups, track guides, data analyst software, and also one-to-one coaching. That's on Virtual Racing School. And Apex Racing Academy, they have 29 data packs with setup, track guides, integrates with the VRS perfectly, weekly grouping sessions, and plus many more. So head over to their websites and just have a look to see what you can do. And our third sponsor, SDK Gaming, does our beautiful overlays that we have on screen, adding virtual live HUD to iRacing, showing timing towers, enhanced relative boxes, mini maps, fuel calculators, and more. You can stream on Switch with most complete overlay in iRacing. So that's big thanks to our 3 main sponsors for this the round 2 of season 1 of the Formula V. And Sam, we've had 2 excellent races, and as we saw there in race 2, 6,000ths of a second between first and second. I'll let you call race number 3 coming up now.
Yeah, well, who is going to win out on this one? I think, well, Skuret's got to be the go-to. There he is on pole position. But Siri Sabre alongside him, I mean, and Siri Sabre's due some luck. Would be great to see either of those two at the front. Smith, I believe, got another pit lane start to serve, so that will really help out Fowler. He'll have a nice blank space just in front of him on the grid. But plenty of top drivers, I think, at the front for this one, Andy. I mean, this isn't too far away from maybe what we'd see in a race 1 start, honestly, with the amount of pros up in the top 10. So, no, Skuret's and Siri Sabre, I think you got to put them as the 2 favourites.
Yeah, definitely, and unfortunate for the 2 Adriansons, but unfortunately out of the reverse grid on that one, down at the tail end of the grid in 21st and 23rd place, so they're going to have a big long slog and just need to try and keep it clean on this first lap as we get all the drivers gridding up. As we can see the gap there with Aaron Smith, hurt him today having them 3 pit lane starts, because he would have been at the front of the grid for race 2 and 3. But unfortunately, that's the way it goes when you get penalties, as we're on the starting grid and we get the red lights going to the green light and we are go. And Skuret gets a good start, and Siri Sabre gets okay start. It still keeps his place in second place, coming down into first corner. So them 2 out in front of Kulo. But the big loss there, which was surprising, was Russ Fowler. Obviously had that clear area in front of him from Aaron Smith, and unfortunately didn't make the most of it, as we see that down here going into first corner, and Russ Fowler on the outside there coming into round turn 1. So it looks like, believe it or not, we had every car getting through the first corner. So there's a first for the league, I think. I think we might have lost 1, but, you know, really good. Really good. Oh, as we see a big run-off there from Wills going in there. So coming off the start of the grid, and unfortunately that will be the end of his race. His car will certainly be crabbing. And I'm surprised he's actually still going. He's dedicated to the end there, but I think he will be towing back to the pits. As we see, the biggest winner out the start is Behrens, up 6 places to 8th place. So another great start to him, Sam. And I think it's like some of our other Apex racing drivers, really good at races, but sort of like slight prone to making mistakes. As we see Costa coming off with Adrianson at the back. So pretty dismal day for Dara Adrianson, you know, winning race, or coming second in race 1, and race 2 and 3 have been a washout for him. So, you know, bit of a mixed fortune there, as Alex Rodenbuck in a 23rd position. But I must say, an excellent livery on his car.
It sure is, one of the best. Smith was another driver who was involved in that. They can see Charpentier. I wonder if you could get a replay of that one, because that was a lot of top drivers getting involved in that crash. We had Money spinning off the line. Oh man, look at Charpentier. So he'd already had a spin, and then everyone else just piling in behind. You can see Smith in the green car losing out, and Charpentier just trying to get around the corners now. He makes more contact. I'm not sure who that one was with, but picking up damage. Whoever it was, and then just having a wheel, which is be a bit like Raikkonen 05. The Nürburgring going to eventually snap off, so goes back to the pits. So this was Money, and I think he just gets tangled up. We've seen this so many times between drivers so far tonight, especially off the race starts, and he barely gets about 50 metres down the road. In fact, actually it was a very awkward start for him. He barely gets away, and I think that was kind of the cause of his incident. And yeah, just gets hit behind. Unfortunately, no one else got hits themselves.
I wonder if he had a bit of hardware failure there, because he seemed to not be going very fast and wasn't gaining speed. And obviously, overrun, as we see here, Prishna Prava getting out in front with, who was that behind him? I think that was Parisi behind him, that unfortunately took out one of the drivers and lost some places there. But as we see the battle here for 13th, 14th and 15th coming down into turn 1. So, you know, the first Skuret, as we called it at the start, Sam, pulling out, but Siri Sabre keeping it up and just getting a faster lap on him. So he'd probably take him down into this first corner, or try the best, as we see him alongside him here. And I think this is where we're going to see Siri Sabre try and go through to the first place. And hopefully Behrens there is obviously as well trying to get into the mix of these top players going around that first corner. But Skuret still keeping first place with Stevie Savo in second and Perez in 13. So great recovery there from Scorette going in around that first corner. So certainly thought he had lost that place to Stevie Savo going around there, Sam.
Yeah, and maybe Stevie Savo deciding to wait in behind. You're certainly within passing range, but so much longer to go in the race. Those top two trying to build a gap to this incredible pack. That's contact there. Oh, it's Andelo and Fowler. That's a shame. Fowler with a good race 2, Andelo with a good race 1, and now just trying to get back going. I mean, he can still get a decent result from what we've seen so far tonight. Drivers dropping outside the top 10, they've been able to get back within the top 10 by the end of the race. Yeah, hopefully those two guys can do that. Not sure who was running into who right there, but they certainly lost out. Whitaker moving up into 3rd position. Now, Whitaker did win race 3 last time at Laguna Seca. However, Behrens, I think, is almost the fastest driver out on circuit. Maybe only the Adriansons brothers are any faster than him. So really, it's probably best for Behrens to be at the front of this one and then kind of tow the rest with him. And it looks like Behrens will be able to take back that race here, unless Huraski wants to play his cards and make it 3 wide into turn 1. He doesn't, fortunately, and Scorette does, Behrens does move to the front, but he still hasn't got Whitaker done. He's going to take the advantage of the side draft here, and Whitaker moves back to 3rd position. This is just allowing the top 2 to get away and going to extend this train as well. As these guys hold each other up, more drivers are going to join the back of it.
Yeah, it seems like that's a good line from Scorette going around the first corner, because he loses a position out, but obviously crucially got that inside line going into turn 3 and getting that side draft which pulls him back into front. So a real big ding dong going on here from 3rd place. And look who's come and join the battle in 5th place. We've got Jensen Adrianson up 16 places, so managed to keep his nose clean and actually got the fastest lap of the race at 1:27 dead. So watch out for him, Sam, coming through, and he's in the perfect position now in that 4th slipstream, the 3rd slipstream space, coming down that start finish. So I won't put it past him to get past these 2 drivers going down this first one, as those 2 are trying to battle it out in front, giving him the perfect opportunity. As long as he gets a good lie out of here, which I think he has, he will slingshot these 2 players, I'm sure, as we see him go on to the outside of the track for turn 1, which we saw pay off quite a lot for Scorette. And Scorette now is on the inside, which is somewhere he's not be, but obviously 3 wide coming into turn 1. So hopefully this pays out okay for all the drivers, as we see 2 drivers behind him 2 wide in there. So 5 cars within the space of a blanket there, Sam. All getting around that first car. And as we said, there goes Adrianson past the 2 of them into 3rd place. So a great ride for him, and let's see if he can get away from them and get up to positions 2 and 3. But at the moment, about 5 seconds behind 2nd place. So big gap for the first 2 with all this fighting going on, Sam.
Yeah, I didn't fancy his chances heading into turn 1, but he made it work, and he's pulled away as well. Whitaker battling with Behrens. Yank has had an issue just behind. Huraski may have been involved in that one, I'm not sure. He seemed to lose a bit of momentum as well, as we get a replay of exactly what happened. So I believe this is Huraski alongside Yank heading into turn 5. You got the slightly slower Behrens just ahead, and well, Yank couldn't really do anything about that one. That was definitely contact there with Huraski. I'm not sure why Huraski made that contact, maybe getting a bit caught out by how early on the brakes Behrens was. No, anyway, lost time for both of them, and that's kind of been the big danger corner. We knew turn 1 was going to be a problem, and fortunately turn 4 isn't too much of a problem, so we thought that maybe turn 5 would be better, but still plenty of issues happening there. As Scorette still leading the race, then Siri Savage just waiting behind. This is very much what we saw in race 2. It's a smart thing to do, so good to see the IQ of these drivers, not wasting time battling, not risking tangling together, just waiting in behind. Siri Savage knows that Scorette's quick, and he's just going to pull the pin with 1 lap to go, like we saw earlier on, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And considering if they're looking at the relative, they know that the guy in 3rd place is 5 seconds behind them, so they don't need to be battling it out. And exactly like you're saying, Sam, Silvio Savo will be just hanging on his coattails and picking his moment when he wants to get past. As we see Adrian got a bit wide there into turn 5, but he'll have the inside line going through 6 and 7, so should still keep that position, but it's definitely not a done deal by any stretch of the imagination, as we've got 6 cars all in a long train going down there. We've seen what that produces coming down the start-finish straight, so I'm expecting them to be 2-3 wide going into turn 1 again, as we see Bradley Core, who's had an outstanding round at the moment, second in the AM for this race, obviously winning race 2 for the AMs, coming second overall, having a really good race. So we should get a nice slipstream effect, so we just need to tuck in behind the cars, as we see here, going 3 wide again. And you see that overspeed. I mean, look at him come now, and cars on the inside a lot slower. So he might actually pick 3 places here if he chooses his line wisely, but he backs out. Probably the best move, just keeping himself safe. But oh, the car behind him there, 2-2-2, nearly going into back. Jared Connell, but luckily managing to save it, Sam.
Yeah, and well, there's got to be a breaking point for this train of cars. I can't see them keeping it up for the rest of the race. There's also some nice battles going on with Hraski holding off Pravda, Ball holding off Dominguez, and also a nice battle between Yank, Andalay, Fowler and Sabo as well. All going on outside the top 10, and now we do see the breaking point. Burns and Paris colliding, and Burns has been so close to an instant all through this one, honestly. I don't think this one was his fault. No, it's the contact from behind, from Paris, and it's a massive shame there for Burns, who started from pole position in race 1, but he really hasn't got a good crack at it. Could certainly still win the championship, and he's established himself as one of the fastest drivers in the series, but just couldn't get away from that pack. And once you spend a few laps in that pack, it gets more and more tricky to break away, and then really an instant like that's only waiting to happen.
Yeah, definitely, and called it perfectly there, Sam. You know, something was going to happen between them. It was too big of a train going in there, and as we've seen the overspeed going into corners, if you brake slightly a little bit earlier, the car behind you will be spearing literally right into the back of you, because they will have that slipstream. Oh, as we see, a bit of off-road racing there from Dominguez with Simon Ball fighting out for 10th and 11th place. But you know what that's done for the AMs now is Brian LaCour is in 6th, Jake Hollow is in 7th, and then you got Prada in 9th. So the AM battle is probably going to go right down to the wire here now, with them pretty much having a battle between themselves, with Hraski a little bit in the mix. Oh, as we get Brad LaCour getting hit off there into turn 5, and Jake Hollow taking him out, I think it was there, but I think that was an exact carbon copy of the lap before, car from behind overspeeding it into that corner. So
yeah, and that loses the AM to lead then, so Pravda, championship leader, remember, up to the lead as well. And always gets himself right up there, does Pujistaya, and I'm sure he'll have a chat with us after the race as well. But still Colo's fairly close to the rear, could still get a nice run, as I thought maybe Silvio Sabo was going to go for the move there. They're just maintaining the gap to the drivers behind, not going to be caught by the end of the race, so still everything, I think, is going to, according to plan for Silvio Sabo, waiting behind until that last lap. Adrianson's still up there in 3rd place. This train went all the way back to about 10th position a couple of laps ago. It's just these 3 remaining then. The bats of the 3rd, 4th and 5th. The 3 J's, if you will, I think. And Jensen's looking for his 2nd podium of the day after winning in race 1, of course. And just a quick reminder, you know, if you're enjoying this video, do make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe as well to Apex Racing TV, so you can catch the rest of the season in this championship and all the other championships that we cover on the channel. As that's a lovely move there from Whittaker to move up to 3rd position. Adriansons might feel that was a bit over aggressive, but he's going to try to return the favour. Pretty much just a straight is this part of the track as the cars start to accelerate, and Adriansons is back to 3rd place, but I don't think that's a good thing, because this is exactly where you don't want to be around this part of the track.
No, he's been doing really well, Adrianson's trying kind of keeping the other two at bay. As we saw, they went a little bit wide into turn 5, and Whitaker taking an excellent line through turn 5, managed to get him on the inside, but then took it a bit wide going into the carousel, which gave Adrianson the gap to come back at him. So great racing between these two drivers, and as we see coming down the first race, so we see here Adrianson taking the really defensive line, keeping that inside line, saying to the other guys, if you want to pass me, you're going to have to go around the outside, the long part of the track, which he's covering off his defensive lines really well at the moment, as these three battle it out for 3rd, 4th and 5th at the moment, and Adrianson's holding them off at the moment, but I'm pretty sure that the guys will be coming hard back on him as we probably just about to go on to the last lap after this lap.
Yes, yeah, just one more to go. So you certainly don't want to be making a move yet if you're Sevi Sabo, but you want to be close at least. You want to be in range. Now, after what we saw in race 1, Andy, do you think you want to be passing into turn 1, or do you think you want to be leaving it until the last corner to make the move?
I think it's a hard call, isn't it? I mean, you can be very defensive going through and obviously try and get the driver behind you to take the wrong line and compromise his line. But as we saw, in race 2, the power of that slipstream coming around that last corner, and it's a hard one to call, but we'll see what happens on this as it goes side by side coming down. So this may be Sivi Savo trying to get the pole position and the number 1 in this race coming down into turn 1, but Scarrett will not give up, and he'll now have as he has a nice little slingshot coming out of turn 1 going in, but obviously in the wrong line at the moment. So Sivi Savo should still get this done by turn 3, but what Scarrett will be right on the tail bite of Sivi Savo, and he just needs to make sure he's still there at the end of turn 7, and he's got a good chance of winning this race then.
Yeah, he's going to have an excellent chance. Adrianson's just holding off Whitaker and Meaton, and by the way, no changes in that one. They are nose to tail, but we'll focus on this one because this is all about just hitting the apexes for Alexander Scarrett. He wants to be within about 0.3 of a second around this part of the track, because fully flat out from here on in. Itchy for Adrianson's just behind, but still Scarrett's 0.45 of a second behind. That was a little bit further than what he wanted, but you can see he's still got a huge overspeed. Won't be easy to get past heading into the final corner, but on the exit could be his opportunity. I think they're both waiting for it. I think they're both lifting off. Certainly Scarrett is lifting off heavily there. It's a bit like the velodrome here with the Kieran as Scarrett gets in the draft. I think he may have left it all a little bit too late. He'll try to get the overspeed here, but Sivi Sabo has the advantage. We're approaching the checker flag right now, and it's Danny Sivi Sabo who takes the race win by 3/100ths of a second. That was fantastic tactical driving from the pair of them. I'm not sure if Sivi Sabo was lifting off at the end there, but it looked as though he was, because they were painfully slow to the final corner, but he absolutely nailed it, and Scarrett just left his last push a little bit too late.
Yeah, definitely. I think if he had got on the acceleration a moment earlier than what he did, I think he would have had that. He left it a little bit too long, but another great finish to a race. So we had race 2, 6,000th of a second between first and second. Race 3, 3,000ths of a second between first and second. I mean, I don't think you can get any closer than that, Sam.
No. And I think respectful in both those races. Smart driving in both those races. I mean, personally, when you're commentating on a few hundred races, it does get annoying after a while. See kind of dumb driving, dumb tactics, but no, those guys were very smart. Second place driver waiting behind, pulling the trigger, and in both races it worked a treat because they won both times. So no, absolutely awesome work from the guys out there. I wonder if you could get a quick replay of what happened to Adrianson's on the last lap, because Adrianson's dropped from 3rd position down to 6th. I think it was around this part of the track where it all went wrong for him. So you can just see he managed to pull out a slight gap. I think this is Whitaker right on his tail. Haraski in the white and red car, I believe, trying to gain some places. And Jensen's lost it all by himself. So he'll be kicking himself for that mistake there. Fortunately, he didn't lose him too many places, but well, maybe he would have been caught by Whitaker anyway, to be fair, but he let that one go fairly easy.
Yeah, no, great bit of driving skill there, not to take anybody else out, managed to keep himself on the track. and still managing to stay in the top 8, you know, up 16 places from where he started that group. So an outstanding race for Jensen Andrews, and certainly the driver of that round picking up the most. Although Simon Ball, who was in 8th place, picked up 18 places on that race. So I think it really pays, and we've seen a big difference, Sam, between the driving styles and skills between race 1 and this race 2. So the guys have been putting in a lot of practice to understand this car and understand this track, and the standard of racing from round 1 to round 2 has gone up 200% on what it is.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I think much better driving off the race starts, and yeah, particularly wheel-to-wheel combat later on in the race. That was much better work from the drivers, as we kind of see a little bit of a replay of the starts, and there were a few things that happened out there heading into turn 1, but on the most part it was nice and clean from the drivers, so impressive stuff. Series Sabo, of course, taking the race win, and that was the contact there. Rockenbach just about avoiding. He moved at a little bit late there, Rockenbach, honestly. I guess it's very easy to say that when it's in slow motion compared to real time, but the Bumblebee car managed to escape too many worries there. Quick shouts out once again as well to our overlay provider, SDK Gaming, which kind of allows us to do these replays. You might be wondering kind of how we, do the replays, but basically we press a button. There's an event viewer where whenever a driver has a problem, it flashes up on our screen. We click on that and it sends us straight to the incident, which is absolutely awesome. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Of course, with SDK Gaming, absolutely everything you could possibly want available with the broadcasting abilities, with the HUDs as well, and with the streaming abilities as well. So huge thanks to SDK Gaming, as we are going to have a chat with one or two of our drivers. And first up, we have got Mr. Pravda to join us in the commentary box. Austin, congratulations. That is another exceptional round. It wasn't a podium this time round, but 5th, 4th and 6th, and dare I say maybe even the top amateur driver in every race. This is going remarkably well.
It was actually 1st, 2nd, and 1st in the amateur series. Race 2, Lacour was just on fire that race.
Of course, yeah, nearly won it, didn't he? So, but no, it was still an incredible evening for you.
Yeah, it certainly was a fantastic race. It was chaos. Race number 1 and 2 were just chaos off the line. Race number 1, somebody near the front car just was completely stalled right out in front of me. And then race number 2, it was chaos right beside me. And then there was a lot of talk of me going to the pros, but I'm nowhere near the pros. Luckily, this circuit has a lot of hand holding with the draft of these cars. I'm able to. I think I was behind one of the Indy Autosports cars for the same 3 races the entire time, and included my qualifying lap. And there was no way I was able to get past them on speed alone. But what really helped me was all the amateur drivers in my class racing the pros, getting into incidents. So if people are trying to force me into the pros for being safe, I don't know why you would do that. I'm nowhere on the pace of these people, but it was a fantastic race for me. Playing it smart, playing it for the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that, how kind of passive you were in wheel-to-wheel combat, and maybe I think maybe Brad Lacour as well, a couple of your other amateur kind of rivals were kind of playing the same tactics, and it's the way to go, because as you're saying, with the draft effect, there's not really much point in getting in the pack. You may as well just sit
especially around
at the
a track like this. Around other tracks, you definitely could race somebody, but here it's a dumb idea, especially when you're in a completely different class and you're at the back of the pro end field. So I was enjoying some fights. Very good popcorn material for me to watch.
So next up, we go to a slightly unusual circuit, and it's one circuit that I haven't ever broadcasted a race on. I'm not sure if I've ever driven it, in fact. It's Hockenheim National A is the track. So it's not the super short one. It's not the one where you turn right after turn 1. You still have turn 1, turn 2, and then you you cut the parabolica basically. What do you think the racing's going to be like around there?
So actually, I've driven that track in testing when I saw it on the schedule. I wanted to be sure what type of racing what I can expect there. It's much wider than this track. Turn 1 is still going to be a bit inhale, just watch out for everything. Turn 2, it's much wider than here, so we might be seeing some better racing going on. That hairpin, very good. It's about as wide as this, but that arena section, the stadium section, should really bring out the pace and everybody else, break out the draft. And I've driven every track on the schedule just to get what's in line for it, and I'm really excited for it. It should be a lot of fun to watch, and hopefully we get some cleaner races. These starts are getting ridiculous with a few of these guys.
Yeah, fingers crossed that those starts improve at Hockenheim next time out. Before we let you go, Austin, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to everybody at Leadpaw Racing for all the support and supporting my team every time I do good. They post it on Twitter at Leadpaw Racing. Everybody there is fantastic. My best friend Ryan, who is going through a lot of tough times right now. He was just in rehab, but he's getting out of it very soon, so hopefully everything goes well for him. Sending you my best wishes, buddy. And Artesian Builds, my sponsor, they make fantastic computers. Use code Pravda_210 at checkout for up to $100 off at artesianbuilds.com. And, well, you, Andrew, and Samuli, and everyone at Apex Racing TV can't be doing this league without y'all, so really means a lot that, well, you put this out there and give us all the opportunity to show ourselves and have a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the kind words, Austin, and we'll see you back very soon on Apex Racing TV. Thursday's your next commentary?
Yeah, Thursdays and on Fridays, I believe so. It's not official yet, but Super Trucks. Hey, that's gonna be fun.
Oh yes, that'll be the roles reversed. I think me and Andy are racing in that one, so yeah, that'll be great. Looking forward to it. See you then.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great day.
So that was Austin Knight there, finishing top of the amateurs in 2 of the races and 2nd place in the other, and now with a bit of a cushion in the championship lead, so going really well for Austin this season. Andy, who would you like to have a chat with next?
I think we'll get Jensen, half of the Anderson brothers, just to see how it went for them. So let's get him into here. Hi Jensen, welcome to the commentary box. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, so a bit of a mixed bag for you. So obviously the first race, excellent. 1 and 2 for the brothers. I don't think that's ever been done in ARL history, as Sam was saying. So well done on that. I'm not sure if it was your first win as well in ARL. Second race, I think you probably got caught up in the first corner incident there, which put paid to your race there, but you know, an outstanding 3rd race, up 16 places to get 5th, and obviously a slight mistake going around turn 5 and 6. You would have had 3rd place in that. So how do you feel it's gone for you tonight?
Yeah, like you say, a very good race 1. I was pretty lucky that the guys behind me were battling a bit and I could create a gap and get out of the slipstream and just pull away. So that went really well. And then yeah, race 2 was a bit of unlucky because of contact in the first corner, and then I had to take the fast repair. So yeah, just try to make up some places to see if I could get a better position for the final, but yeah, it wasn't great. And then yeah, the final, it was going really well until the final lap. I didn't think I could hold them off the entire race, but I did. And then on the final lap, I made a mistake in the final corner, so that's wasn't so great.
Yeah, I'm not going to say
overall was a pretty decent result.
Yeah, we're not going to say we caught it on stream, but yeah, have a look back. But it's been unfortunate because yeah, we were watching you through that race, and you're doing a fantastic job holding the guys off. Obviously, talking about race 1, is obviously you and your brother working well. Do you find yourself working together on track, or is there a bit of family rivalry on there of who's going to be top? Because it seemed like you were very much working together, which obviously got you that 1st and 2nd.
We do try to work together as much as we can, but if we have a gap in the final lap, then we just battle it out. But as long as we can try to work together and create a gap, we try to do that.
Yeah, certainly. You certainly show that both of you have pace within this. Obviously, in round one, you did really well. Round two, and it's obviously seems to be trying to carve your way through the race 2 and 3 startups. Do you find that the most difficult part, trying to get through the back markers or midfield in race 2 and 3 to try and keep yourself up there?
Yeah, I think it's just in that you have to be really careful in the first corners. And maybe that's what called us out, me and my brother, this race, to be maybe a bit too optimistic into the first corner of the second race. So yeah, that's something we gotta watch out for the next races to not lose it there.
Yeah, so a decent set of points there gained from this round. So it certainly put you in good stead into the Pro Championship. So the next round is Hockenheim National A. I'm not sure if you've driven that. How are you feeling for that one?
I did some practice laps already today, so to see what it would be like, I think that could be a really great track as well for the battling, even more slipstreamy than this one. So should be good fun.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, good luck for the future. And obviously, how are you enjoying changing up? Obviously, you used to driving GTE cars and then coming down to this sort of car. How are you feeling for that one? For this car that you're coming driving?
Yeah, I really like the car. I think it's a really fun car to just because of the battles. You can do the slipstream battles. Everyone is more or less on the same pace because as soon as you get in the slipstream, you can just keep up. So that's what makes it fun. Trying to get a gap, trying to be without mistakes and get 1.2 seconds ahead of the rest so you can create a gap. So that makes it difficult and fun. So yeah, I really like the car.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So, well, thanks for joining us in the commentary box. Before we let you go, Jensen, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to Indie Autosport and my brother and Danny, the teammates, for working together. Also in the qualifying to get a good slipstream, to get good results. So thanks to the team.
Okay, thank you very much, and good luck in Hockenheim next Monday.
Yep, thank you.
So, Sam, there's obviously Jensen had a really good first race, had a really good third race considering we really started, and unfortunately got a little bit caught up there in race 2. But I suppose that's racing. Overall, he should be proud of the positions that he's achieved today.
Yeah, and with Kelly not here tonight and no one really having a perfect round themselves, it's well, I have no idea who's going to be at the front, but I'm sure Jensen's going to be fairly close himself. We're going to have a final quick interview with Aaron Smith. Aaron, how's the pit lane? Because you had to start across all 3 races from the pit lane tonight, but it turned out all right for you because you avoided the lap 1 messes and 3 decent results tonight.
I'd say it turned out to be a blessing, to be honest. Race 1, I don't even know what happened. Like 6 cars just took each other out on the start-finish straight, which was great. So I was like, okay, that's already 6 positions. And then I kind of just made my way from there. And then race 2, pretty much same story. A bunch of people just took each other out and I just went on through. Had some good battles throughout the whole thing. And then race 3, I just got caught up in a incident at like turn 5, I think. So unfortunate, but yeah, I didn't expect to do well out, 3 quali bands. Like, what am I going to do? But I still had fun, even though, it was absolute chaos, but,
Yeah, it looked pretty mental out there. I mean, how aggressive do you think the drivers are out on circuit? I mean, what would you say the balance is between maybe patient drivers who are kind of driving the race tactically and drivers who are just trying to get past at every opportunity? What would you say the balance is between those 2 types of drivers out there?
I think it's a good, decent balance because at one point in race 2, we were all being fairly sensible and all being patient and waiting for the main straight to attack each other. But then there was just one dude, and it's always one guy that comes in and ruins everything, and one guy sent it up on all of us and took out like 2 guys behind me. I think it's a fairly good balance, and I think most of the drivers that are more aggressive are probably nearer towards the back because they probably crashed. But there are some good aggressive drivers here. You just have to not hit anyone, which it didn't look very Like it just felt like everyone was just trying to crash into each other today. But oh well.
Next up, we've got Hockenheim, but not the Grand Prix circuit. It's the national circuit where you kind of cut the parabolica straight in half. What do you think that track is going to be like? And do you think it's going to be more of a slipstream fest like we saw today, or do you think it'll be more possible to break the draft?
I think if it was the full track, it would be more of a slipstream fest. But because it's only about half, I think it should be a good mix. I don't really think there's that many places to slipstream apart from the main straight and just after it. So I think we should get a good mix of slipstream and people who actually know how to drive the car. Only thing I'm worried about is turn 1, lap 1. That's going to be utter chaos. But no, I mean, you just go wide to avoid everything, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to it. I really like Hockenheim.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, Aaron, is there anyone you'd like to give any thanks to?
Everyone at Apex, pretty much. This league so far has been incredibly fun. Frustrating, but fun. It's probably one of the best series they've done in a while. I love this car. It's so much fun to just mess about with. And everyone else in the lobby, well, most of them raced fairly cleanly. And yeah, the commentators, obviously, you guys do an amazing job. And keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Aaron. And yeah, best of luck. You can get some good results next time out.
Thank you, guys.
Aaron Smith there with some decent results, like I said, considering that he had to start from the back constantly. He did well to overtake so many drives. Probably overtook more drives than anyone else tonight. Quick word, Andy, on the next round of the championship, Hockenheim. Like I keep on saying, it's not the full circuit there, but it's a lot wider than this one. I think that might be the big difference. This first half of the circuit in particular, it's going to be crazy how much wider it is than kind of the circuits that we've visited so far. So hopefully we'll see some good racing, and I think a few more braking zones as well for the drivers to tackle.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as Aaron said there, I think turn 1 going into turn 2 is going to be the big one. I mean, we saw in the GT Trophy, you know, one car getting a bit out of shape coming into turn 1 because it narrows out quite a lot coming down into turn 1. Obviously, you've got that big wide out open space on turn 1, which you can take out, but it narrows quite quickly. So, you know, the difference is, these two races that we've had, rounds 1 and round 2, the first corner is quite tight, whereas obviously the first corner in Hockenheim, as we all know, is probably in these cars will be flat out, where you have to lift slightly in a GTE car. But certainly looking forward. I think one of the things I'm sort of taking out from this sort of league and what keeps cropping up is people saying that it's crazy but really enjoyable. I think they're the two words for this season in this championship. So 6 rounds left, 12 races to go, and if anybody wants to try and do it, then come along, sign up on Apex TV, and basically come and join the last 6 rounds and enjoy the fun and chaos of Formula V racing.
Definitely, yeah, it's been a fun season so far, and hopefully it continues to be that way for the rest of the championship. That pretty much brings us to a close then for this evening. Another huge thanks to Virtual Racing School, to SDK Gaming, and to Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring the broadcast. There's links to all of them in the description below. I believe there's also links to our various social media platforms as well on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, where you can see highlights and updates of everything that's going on Apex Racing TV. Of course, if you've enjoyed this video, do leave a like on it and make sure to subscribe as well to Apex Racing TV, because we've got plenty more racing coming up. I think later on we've actually got the Rick Tech World Challenge so if you're based in the US, then that's a perfect time zone for yourself. We've also got Rallycross World Championship qualifying in a couple of days time. We've got the Apex Racing League Trucks series coming up. We've got the Radical Racing Challenge. We've got Apex Racing Academy Formula 3. So many different series across a variety of racing disciplines on Apex Racing TV. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell button as well so that you get notified whenever we go live. And yeah, watch lots of our streams in the future. So yeah, huge thanks for tuning in tonight, and we are going to wrap up. So for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Andy Thompson, and from Sam Kumo, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you in 7 days time at Hockenheim for round 3 of the championship. See you then.